Welcome to this week's Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. This week, we travel to South Fort Worth to Paladin Cigars. We'll visit with the owners, brothers Arron and Mathew. We'll find out their story, find out what they're smoking, and hopefully get some cigar tips. Thank you for joining. Hope you enjoy the show. And now, it's time to light 'em up. It's time for Cigar of the Week. This week's choice, Plasencia Reserve Original. I'm smoking a Robusto, and let me tell you, it's silky smooth. The draw is perfect. I would say it's one of the top 10 cigars I've smoked this year. It's a handmade Nicaraguan with 100% organic tobacco. It's aged for over 3 years. This creamy cigar is mild to medium with a pure and natural tobacco flavor. If you come across one, I highly recommend it. The Plasencia Reserve Original, my cigar of the week. Welcome to this week's podcast. I'm your host, Rob Jones. We're visiting in South Fort Worth, Paladin Cigars. And I have the co-owners with me today, Arron and Mathew. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Hey, Rob. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here again. It's been a year since I was here last time. Looks like you guys are doing fabulous. I appreciate the selection that you have, how you welcome everyone into your shop. That's what I love about great cigar shops. It feels like family every time you walk in the door.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, anywhere in the country you can go to a great cigar lounge and feel right at home.
Exactly.
But always a good place to meet new people as well.
Oh, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your story. I was talking to Arron earlier. He said y'all been in the business for 7 years. And tell me about how you got started in it. Well, let's back up and go a little bit further back than that. What cigar did it for you that made you fall in love with the cigar lifestyle?
Well, I particularly can't say that I have a personal cigar that's my favorite. It was more the experience, the times I got to spend with my dad. Outside of smoking with him, I didn't smoke a whole lot of cigars, but the bonding time and the fellowship that I spent with him was what really did it for me.
Excellent.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I think that it's like falling in love, you know, with a good woman. You know, you don't maybe know exactly when and where it happened, but just one day you woke up and you're like, wow, this is awesome. I couldn't see myself doing anything else, and you're just blessed to be there.
I tell you, anyone in your position, I think is very blessed because you're in the business that you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's a rare thing these days. A lot of people are going to work, doing the grind on something that they hate.
Yes.
And you guys are living the dream. I mean, I don't know very many cigar smokers myself that don't fantasize about owning their own shop someday.
That's true. It's true. And we get that comment a lot, actually, Rob. There is work. I mean, don't misunderstand me. It's not just sitting around smoking cigars all day, but there's not too many days I wake up and think, I don't want to go to work. I mean, sure, there's other things that I'd rather be doing, maybe playing around at golf or something like that. But all in all, it's not work. It's really a gift.
Well, there is paperwork. There's stuff to be done, for sure.
So, anyway, let's tell the guys about your shop a little bit. It's in South Fort Worth. It's on Hewlin Boulevard or Hewlin Street?
Hewlin Street.
South Hewlin Street, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You walk in the door, it's a very inviting atmosphere. You have a nice lounge area in the front with leather sofas and chairs, and your humidor is packed to the gills.
Yes.
Love that. When I go into a humidor, I want to have a selection. Mm-hmm. And when I walked in today, the first thing that caught my eye was the Plasencia 146,
yes.
which I was like, oh, yes, one of my favorites. And then out of the other corner of my eye, I saw a LAD Cabinet 6, mm-hmm. which is my very favorite cigar, and I can't find them hardly anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I was very excited that you guys have those cigars.
Yeah.
Then you come out and you come down the hallway, and there's just lounging areas everywhere. It's a very comfortable atmosphere. You have customers talking and just enjoying themselves. So hats off to you guys for having a really great shop.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the customers definitely make it possible. It's always without them, and it just looks dead in here. Some of the times it doesn't have that same vibe as when people come in and there is that bustle, I suppose, of camaraderie.
Well, just so everybody knows that's listening, we're actually recording this session in the middle of their cigar shop. There's lots of people in here smoking and shooting stories and just having a good time. So that's what I love about the shops.
Yeah, it is. It's you can come sit in, jump right into the middle of a conversation. I confess sometimes they get a little bit wild, a little bit crazy, and sometimes the owner gets on his soapbox and rants quite a bit. But at the end of the day, we always try to keep it fun. And the other thing that I have to tell you is so refreshing about a lot of cigar shops you'll go into is you can have a conversation and maybe agree to disagree, but still remain civil, I dare say, in a day and age where so many people are, it's my way or the highway. People can talk, they can have sensible conversations, and then leave as friends.
Well, a good friend of mine told me last week on an episode we did, he said, it's nice to go to a cigar shop where you can have adult conversations and be civilized.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Well said. Because it doesn't happen everywhere.
Well, and so many conversations and topics that are off limits in other aspects of the world that you can really get into, and it's acceptable here. If you were just to strike up a conversation in the store and mention something political, they might look at you like that's not what we talk about in public.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely a place where you can talk about different things, and I was talking to your brother earlier, and I even said that we can talk about things and disagree, but the bond is the cigar.
Mm-hmm.
So you can always come back and have another cigar and have a completely different conversation.
True.
Absolutely.
True.
So let's go ahead and talk about how you guys got started.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, and it's kind of a magical story, it was a Cuban guy that got us into the business, dead to rights. He owned a little shop in Reno, Nevada that my dad frequented regularly. After a number of years going there, they got to know the guy. He started inviting him down to the Dominican Republic. He says, this is where I live, this is where my operation is. He says, come visit. So my folks started traveling to the Dominican Republic. And then after a while, he was looking at actually expanding on what he had and wanted to go in business with my folks. He could provide the cigars, and we would provide the build-out and the labor force. Well, that worked out for a little while, and then things kind of they changed there. I guess the scenery, the landscape changed. And so we kind of went off on our own, started finding other manufacturers to contract, and then also expanded our humidor by carrying some of the larger manufacturers, vertically integrated. We like to specialize in those that are family-owned, generally speaking, or that have their roots very close to that idea of what they were originally conceived as a company. So that's kind of the history of it. It's evolved over time since, as you said, the 7 years we've been in business. We've changed things a number of times, but I think that's any good business grows and evolves, and we really try to stay focused on the needs of our customers and bring in what's new, what's happening, and what our customers what we think they really want.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, have y'all been at this location the entire time?
Yes, sir.
Well, very nice.
Yeah, all 7 years. Yeah.
Okay. In a brother relationship, is it difficult to work brother to brother?
Not too much. As with any family situation, there's always going to be that little bit of consternation where if roles aren't clearly defined. But myself and my brother Mathew here, we've always gotten along. We've always shared a room growing up.
Yeah.
There's been the little squabbles or differences along the way. When we were younger, we'd like the same girl or something like that, but we'd always get over it, and at the end of the day, we're always each other's best friends.
That's awesome.
So it's worked out. We've been very blessed in that regard of not having the constant power struggle, I would say.
Yeah. And I was talking with your dad earlier. You're the older brother, correct, Aaron?
I'm actually the younger one.
You're the younger.
I've just got a huge beard right now, so it's
Well, he's also 6 inches taller than I am, so that also plays into the whole. I'm the little brother now.
I thought maybe it was just that you looked younger.
Yeah.
Well,
he's lived probably a healthier life than I have as well. Well, I put some hard miles on this chassis.
True. One of the other things that I'd like to add to the whole brother aspect is that as we've both gotten older, an important observation for both of us, I think, is that we have learned to identify and really come along and supported each other's strengths and weaknesses. And where somebody really shines, you kind of step out of the way and just let them run with that. And you don't try to meddle with it too much. And where they're weak, you try to come alongside and do what you can to help them out there. And I know I get the same from Arron on a lot of that, where it's hands helping hands. We pull each other up and encourage each other along and really do the best we can at that.
Well, and I would also think that it's great having a partner that you trust 100%.
Yes.
In some businesses where you have two partners come together, there might be some trust issues down the road where you guys know that you both have each other's best interests.
Yeah, that's well said.
Well, and, working together for so long, there are certain aspects of the business and just our work ethic where we know how we want something done because we've been doing it together for our entire lives, whereas having other people come in and we're like, well, why would you do it that way? Like, Matt would know exactly how to do that and why. Kind of have that telepathic communication almost when it comes to our work ethic, which has been really made things really easy, I would suppose.
That's great. So let's talk about what we're smoking right now. What are you smoking right now, Matthew?
I am actually smoking the AKA Nth Degree. It's a new cigar. One of our reps dropped it by. I think he's hoping that we start carrying this in the shop. It's a pretty tasty little cigar. It's Maduro, flavorful, smooth. I really like it. It's one of those that has that heavy chocolatey notes to it, which
nice.
I really enjoy that.
And how about you, Arron?
I am smoking the Aladino Corojo. It's by the JRE tobacco family. It's a great Honduran Puro, yes. It's a line that we brought on, about a year ago now, and it's been doing really well for us since then. The JRE family, they were one of the original founders of Camacho, and they were under a non-compete agreement for a while, and now that they're making tobacco again, they're really killing it. They make this line and the Rancho Luna.
I'll definitely have to put those on my list to try.
Yeah.
Well, what's so cool about that family there is Julio Oñora, he's the father, the patriarch of the family, and this guy is a grower through and through. And his son Julio actually went to school as an agronomist, and so farming is his passion as well. So these guys are in the field the majority of the time, making sure that everything's done right. Tobacco truly is their passion. So it fits really well with what we like to present to our customers is these guys that it's not about the marketing, it's not about a lot of the gimmicky stuff that you find in the cigar industry, but they're really passionate about the leaf.
Well, we were talking about that earlier. In this industry, you'll find a lot of gimmicks.
Yes.
And when it comes right down to it, those gimmicks can't compete with a solid product.
Correct.
And so when I look for cigars, my favorite cigar is the LFD Cabinet 6. There's no gimmicks here.
Right.
It doesn't even have a band.
Right. Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of retailers that won't carry that cigar for the reason. My dear friend Andy, who used to be the rep here for LFD in the area, he would tell me that it was a really hard sell for him in a lot of shops because the owners didn't like the fact that it didn't have a band.
Really?
And for me, what Andy and I kind of concluded was this cigar, if you've ever seen it before, it sits in a plain wooden box, 50-count box, and you walk by it, and the glisteny oiliness of the wrapper just calls to you. It doesn't need a band. And Lito says the same thing. He goes, this cigar, the wrapper is the band. The wrapper is the calling card. But there's some people that won't carry it. It's really
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, but to each his own.
For me, it's probably been one of the easiest cigars to show people to buy because I take it out of the box and I show them that wrapper, and it's just like, oh, look at this wrapper. It's like velvet.
Yes.
Yes. It's all shiny and oily. You can almost see yourself in it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And the flavor on that cigar is really outstanding.
Well, earlier I had the opportunity, Mathew gave me a cigar that you carry. Tell us about that cigar.
Sure, the Tapao. The Tapao is Dominican, Corojo wrapped. The profile I gave you was a Toro. It's a really nice cigar. It's creamy, flavorful. It's just the consistency of the cigar is outstanding from beginning to end. It's got a couple of little complexity changes, but it's a really nice cigar. It's one that's done really well for us here in the shop. They also have a San Andreas wrapper on another blend, and that does well also. But it comes from Tabaqueria El Profeta. Papito is the master blender there. He actually got his start with LFD blending.
I know the name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, from the very minute that we lit it up, all the way through and to the finish, it was a solid cigar.
Yes.
I mean, I don't remember the last time I've tried a new cigar that was that good.
Really?
I was very impressed.
That's encouraging to hear, Rob. Thank you for that.
Very good to hear.
I mean, after I finished there at the end, I started kind of ramping up just a little bit.
Yes.
And I was like, that's exactly what a cigar should be.
Yes.
Starts off well, mellows out a little bit, and then comes back strong.
Yeah.
But the construction of the burn was perfect all the way through.
Gosh, that's wonderful to hear. Yeah.
I mean, I was impressed.
Good.
We'll have to let Papito know there. He'll be happy to hear that.
Well, and you said he got his start with the LFD?
Yeah. He got his start with Lito. I'm not exactly how much he was involved in the blending processes, but he is a fabulous blender. From what I understand, though, he did quite a bit of work with them for about, I want to say it was about 7 to 8 years. He was with that company as they were, coming up back in the 90s, and then kind of went off and started doing his own thing, which is great. But it's kind of the it's the gold of the cigar industry, the stories of these guys that started off and they built their blending technique, their acumen over the years. And
well, they put in the work.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They didn't just come in and buy up something and try to make a cigar out of it. They actually put in the work, the labor, the love, all of it. And that shows.
Yes, it does.
And I'm not surprised at all that my favorite cigar, and then you give me a cigar, and I love it, is from the same family, so to speak.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, I always like to ask cigar shop owners, what tips can you give the cigar smokers? One shop told me, basically how to cut cigar. Mm-hmm. I talked to another guy who talked about retrohale. Do you guys retrohale?
Absolutely.
Oh, it's a must.
It's a must.
Especially with the more mild cigars like the 146 Cosecha by Plasencia, things like that the flavors are lovely but a little bit more subtle.
Yes. I didn't start retrohaling until about a year ago, and I mean it just opened up a whole other world of cigar smoking.
Yes.
So
yeah, it absolutely does. It changes the game.
So, what tip would you guys give?
Wow, that's a good question, I would say.
I like to tell people when they're asking new smokers, whatever, there's not a wrong or a right way, but there is a difference. So much I've found over the years that each cigar requires almost a technique to smoke and enjoy it to its maximum potential. And while there's not a wrong or a right way, there is a difference. And some guys that'll smoke, we carry a line called the Atabe, fabulous cigar, but it is a mild cigar. If you're not retroing this cigar, retro-exhaling the cigar, you miss the glory that this cigar is. And so while there's not a wrong way to smoke it, if you're not retroing it, you're missing the punchline.
So what you're saying is basically get to know the cigar. Mm-hmm. When you have a cigar, get to know how to smoke that cigar.
Yes. Well, education is power.
Oh, absolutely.
And we really, that's one of our, our foundational pillars here at Paladin is we love to educate. I know I can get a little long-winded in the humidor with certain customers, and they're kind of like, wow, you're saying a lot of words here, and I don't understand what you're saying. But at the end of the day, I like people to know where the cigar's from, what kind of wrapper they're smoking, what kind of body, what kind of flavors to expect. Because at the end of the day, when you kind of sit down and then you can kind of maybe start to process some of those things, next time you go back and you're choosing a cigar, you can say, okay, well, I know that I like this, and I know actually what it was that I liked about the cigar.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great advice. So, are you guys from the Fort Worth area?
No, not originally.
Where are y'all from?
We were both born in Riverside, California.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. So how long have you been in Texas?
seven years.
Yeah, we came here for the shop.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
What brought us here?
Yeah.
So, how did you find the Fort Worth community?
Fort Worth is awesome.
We used a map.
Yeah.
just messing with you, man.
There's a joker in every family.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Fort Worth is it's maybe one of the nicest cities I've ever lived in. It is so welcoming. People here are outstanding. I mean, I don't think I've met a more friendly group of people in the United States. The city's clean. I think Fort Worth has mastered the big city, small town feel.
Oh, I agree.
They have perfected it. And I couldn't be happier with living in this area.
That's awesome. So tell me about some of the upcoming events that your shop's going to...
We plan on doing a number of tastings throughout the season. We've got a couple of different ideas on where we want to go with that. One is we were looking and reviewing the top 25 cigars 2018, and so we want to put together a panel of smokers, some reliable guys, some guys that we feel like have really adjusted palates, and go through and start smoking the top 25 cigars and giving them our own reviews.
Oh, that's nice.
And we've thought about extending that to some of the smokers that follow us on the internet and saying, okay, this is when we're going to be doing it. Let's all smoke the cigar in this week time period and give us your review. So then we can kind of get a peer-based review as far as just relying on the reviews of some guy in some
for a magazine.
Right, exactly. Some guys that are real. I'm not saying these other individuals aren't real smokers, but these are people that I can touch and feel and really have a sense of what's going on.
And basically get an unbiased review.
Correct. No money involved. Just real clean. Did you like the cigar? Did you not like it?
You wouldn't be opposed to taking money for the reviews, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. No.
I'm just messing.
Well, and no, you come across an interesting point because it's something that's been actually getting me a little bit lately in the industry. Is there's so much money that's exchanging hands now. I don't know any more personally. I don't know who to trust and who not to trust.
I agree 100%. I've actually been asked to review some cigars on the show, and I have to tell them up front, if it's a great cigar, I'll promote your cigar all day long. But if it's a bad cigar, I'm not going to promote it.
Yes.
So I understand completely.
Well, at the very least, what you could tell them is, I'm going to give you honest feedback.
Right.
And I, and we tell this to people all the time in the shop. Everybody, the question we get asked a lot, people come through the door and they go, what's your best cigar here? And it's like, well, you couldn't ask me something more subjective. There's great cigars for a full-bodied palate, and there's great cigars for a mild palate. I confess I'm a medium to mild-bodied smoker. I can appreciate a full-bodied cigar, but it's not what I reach for first off the shelf. I understand that a guy who likes this, he's going to love the super spicy, full-bodied start on this cigar, that it kind of mellows out, the spiciness is lost in the middle, and then at the end, as you said, Rob, it ramps back up and gets all up in your face and leaves you kind of like thinking, why did I smoke this cigar while you're passed out on the couch? But everybody's going to have a different taste there, and so, but I can respect everything that a cigar offers, but some cigars, they're just not good cigars.
True, and I think that really comes down to a lot with construction.
Yes. For
me, construction's where it starts. If you have bad construction, then it's really just a waste of my time.
Yeah. You appealed to the draw earlier, and I'll tell you what, for me, I'm in the same boat with you, Rob. The draw is paramount. If I can't get easy puffs, nice like smoke in the mouth, I don't know. I don't like to work hard for anything. So what am I doing trying to work this cigar? My cheeks get sore. I'm having trouble smiling the following day.
I don't want that blood vessel popping out of my forehead
when
I'm trying to get a draw.
Exactly right.
So do you guys have some favorite cigars? I mean, like your top 3?
Can we make it top 5 at least?
Okay. I'll let you do top 5.
Lately, just the Plasencia Reserve. I mean, for the price point on it and the flavor and construction and just consistency of the cigar, that's kind of my go-to smoke at the moment. I like the Toro profile personally. If money's no object, I love the Attaby. I mean, that's always my birthday cigar right now.
I actually had one of those about 2 weeks ago, and it was
really
fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another one that it's not too strong on the flavor or the strength of it. It's just, it's kind of everything that I originally thought a cigar should be. You know, like when you're a kid and you smell coffee for the first time and then you drink coffee and you're like, whoa, that's like nothing like what it smells like. You know, you're kind of taken aback. But, yeah, the Attaby is just everything that I thought a cigar should always be.
No, I would agree with that. That would definitely be on my top 5 as well. The Ritos profile is it's the largest one that they make right now. I can't remember the exact profile. It's a little over 6 inches, 54 ring, I believe. And it's one of those where, you know, when people are buying it, some of the other the profiles offer a little bit different flavor complexity, but the Ritos is one of those where I tell people it's like once you start smoking the cigar, you don't want it to end, so buy the biggest profile. You know, it really is worth it. And then you mentioned the Cosecha 146 earlier.
Right.
That cigar, in my mind, for the money is just rock solid.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yeah, I've been smoking quite a few of those over the last month. In fact, probably my first one I tried about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I was just like, wow, where's this cigar been?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Where was this hiding? But
the JRE, their Corojo Reserve that they just released earlier this year. That's I mean, it's one of those cigars that's just packed full of Ligero, but incredibly smooth and just has that right amount of strength that just gets you that nice head feeling, and you're just. I only wish they made it in a little bit of a larger profile than the Robusto that they have at the moment. But that is another one that would probably make my top 5 easily.
I don't know that I could smoke too much more of that cigar, though. I mean, God, that cigar puts me...
It's packed full of power.
It is. That makes me sleepy.
Yeah, it's an end capper.
Just for sheer enjoyment, I am a huge fan of the Gilberto Oliva Sumatra that they released a couple of years ago. I can't believe the price on this cigar. It's right around $6.20 in our humidor, I think.
Wow!
But just for sheer smoking pleasure, it has these like big whiskey, cotton candy feel smoke in the mouth. Sweet. I love a cigar. Sumatra, Cameroon. It may be my favorite wrapper, hands down.
I have not had that one, but I'm going to have to try it.
It's so good. It's so good. And it's playful. It's light. It just kind of dances around. I can smoke it, not really feel too much of anything, but just satisfaction from the palate experience, the flavor that you get. And I can retro the heck out of that thing.
That's nice.
Yeah, real nice.
You ever retro hell one that's like way too bold to be retro helling?
Oh, big mistake.
Makes you sneeze.
The eyes water.
Well, I smoke probably 90% of full body, so I'm pretty much used to that, but I don't have the delicate palate like you would have, and so that's why I lean towards the full strength.
Sure.
It's just like when I go out to eat, I'm eating the most spicy foods there are.
Okay, yeah.
My palate's weak, so that also explains why I smoke the strongest cigars. And I think that's the case for a lot of people who smoke real heavy, robust cigars.
Yes.
That was your top 2?
Yeah, top 2, top 3. Last one I smoked that I really got very interesting notes from was The Traveling Man by Hiram and Solomon.
Great cigar.
Yes, right. And you know, you hear stuff in the industry like, oh, it had notes of this and chocolate, and that was one of the first cigars I've smoked in a long time that genuinely, about halfway through the cigar, I'm like, whoa, that's like a little bit of a raspberry note. You know, like there it is. This is what people are talking about. You know?
What size did you smoke?
I think I smoked the Toro. That's normally my go-to size. I feel like it's not too big, not too small. You're going to get the appropriate flavor that the blender wanted out of the experience in a Toro profile.
I'm with you. When I first started, I was trying to be cool, so I'd smoke the 6x60.
Yeah, sure.
And then I think as you graduate, you don't always need that big cigar. In fact, I think you get a better understanding of the complexity of the flavors when you go with a smaller gauge cigar.
Yes,
unquestionably. If you go back and you look at Cuban tradition, like these are the guys who originally created this art that we love, smoking cigars. And for them, a big ring gauge was 54. It's a 54 ring gauge cigar. And you think about that, and it's like, oh my God, like 54 ring gauge, that's super small. I mean, that's a little bit bigger than a Toro, but that to them was a gargantuan cigar, where most cigars that they're smoking, they love a Corona profile. They love a Robusto, you know. These smaller, compact sizes they give you more flavor.
Well, and this year, I just started smoking the Lanceros.
Oh, gosh.
And I've never smoked those before because, you know, you look at them and go, oh, that's tiny.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been several of them that I love.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
A good Maduro Lancero or a Corona Maduro, like, that's, to me, you get some of the best flavor in the cigar world out of a stronger wrapper on a small ring gauge cigar.
Yeah.
Really lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so you've named 3 out of your top 5. We still need 2 more. Now, this isn't for Matthew. He gets to do his own 5.
Oh, absolutely. One I just smoked the other day, which absolutely really blew my skirt up, was the Bellas Artis by A.J. Fernandez. Their Maduro, it's a Petite Churchill, I think they call it. Short Churchill, yeah, there you go. That would be up there. That was a phenomenal cigar. And then let's see, probably... For the number 5, I would say the Bandolero by Select Tobacco. It's just got one of those cigars that has very unique, I mean, it really can't be compared to another cigar. It almost has like a licorice kind of anise taste to me.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, and it's just one of those cigars that's so different from the rest of the smokes that you find in the industry that it really stands out to me, and that would probably be my number 5.
Well, I'll have to put that on my list as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll send you home with one.
Oh, well, thank you. All right, Matthew, what's your top 5?
Well, I'm going to have to, again, go with the Atabey is one of them. I'm not going to put them in any particular order here.
Sure.
But the Atabey, absolutely. Again, I am Plasencia right now. They really can't do any wrong in my mind. I'm less fond of the Alma Fuerte because, again, it appeals to this really deep, rich, full complexity, and it's good, but it just doesn't sing to me. But their Alma del Campo and the 146, I mean, I'm going to put them neck and neck, but they are both fabulous smokes. Both creamy, both full, rich, complex. They both have different enough flavor to be unique cigars. So maybe I'll just have to say 1, 2, and 3. That would be 3 off the list. And again, I'm not going to lie. As silly as it seems, that Gilberto Oliva, again, just for smoking enjoyment, I would put that on my top 5 list because it unquestionably, if I had to fall back on any cigar, one single cigar, in my mind, that would be it. I can't say enough good things about it. Again, there are some other Cameroons that I may put in that same wheelhouse. We have this little limited edition Leon Jimenez 300, which is a Cameroon, but you're not going to find that hardly anywhere. So for the average smoker, that Gilberto is it's a great standby. And then, of course, my 5th, and without one of the first full-flavored cigars that I smoked, it was a gift from a dear friend of mine, Bill. He's cigar. He truly is an aficionado. This guy can talk circles around any human being I know about tobacco. He is a savant.
And I'm pretty impressed with you 2 guys.
I mean, this guy, he gets a little. It's almost like, whoa, hold on now, hold on. Yeah, say some words that I can understand. You know.
So what you're saying is you understand your customer that comes in, and then you start talking, and he's like, I don't know what he's saying.
Exactly. But he gifted me a Padron Aniversario 1965. And that cigar holds a real special place in my heart, and it's still one that where I can find it and when I can afford it, I will smoke that cigar because it delivers on so many levels, complexity and flavor, easily retro-exhalable because of the age of the tobacco. It's a lovely cigar, and it's one of those that, in my mind, in a world where so many cigars are similar in flavor and complexity, it set a benchmark for the rest of the tobacco industry to follow and kind of say, okay, in this wheelhouse, we compare ourselves to that cigar.
Well, and also it sounds like that because it was given to you by a special friend. It also holds sentimental value.
Absolutely.
And, you know, for me, in 2016, my mother and my father both passed away. And I remember I got to spend the last 38 days of my dad's life with him.
Oh,
and we
cool.
would sit out on the front porch, and he'd never smoked cigars. And, of course, I brought lots and lots of cigars, and we'd sit on the front porch, and he'd smoke a cigar with me. So those cigars were always cherished to me. So when you have that sentimental value,
Yes.
it just adds to the enjoyment.
Yes, absolutely. You're right.
So, all right, well, let's talk about, do you guys go back to California much?
No, hardly make it out there.
We're kind of tied to this place for the most part. It's not a bad relationship, but we're here a lot.
I understand. Well, earlier when I was talking to Arron, he said that he had been to the Dominican Republic with your father.
Yes.
Did you go as well?
At another time, yes. We've both traveled down there and got to see we've seen the tabacalleras and the fields where a lot of this tobacco is grown. I highly recommend anybody who is a cigar fan to travel to one of these parts of the world, whether it be Honduras, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and go and see how this is done. It gives you a whole new appreciation for what we're smoking.
Well, this year, I'll be married 24 years. Next year it'll be 25. For our 25th anniversary, that's what we're going to do. Is we're going to go down and tour in Nicaragua.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
This year for my anniversary, we're going to the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival.
Cool.
Oh,
It's in August. So I'm telling you, when you get a wife, make sure you get a good one.
That's the goal, right?
The checklist, golf, cigars. Make sure that she approves. Yes.
Tell me about the venture that you guys are in and bringing in your own cigars.
The nature of how we got started in the business. Our folks, they got introduced to a number of individuals down in the Dominican Republic that produce cigars, have small tabacalleras, are looking to come up in the industry. And so, again, meeting these individuals, brokering deals, our folks do a lot of that. For us, they're kind of the long arm of Paladin Cigars that reaches down to the Dominican Republic. I don't want to say it's not hard to do if you know the right people. It's actually pretty easy. The one thing that I can tell you that we've never really, I don't want to say had the desire for, but I can tell you that myself and my brother, we're not master blenders. Like, I can smoke a good cigar and appreciate a good cigar, but the guys that have been blending this long and doing this, and they know the tobacco, they know the flavors that they want to elicit from a cigar. They have their own unique style, obviously, but they've done the homework. We're just the lucky middlemen that get to stand on this side of the world and hand out, sell this awesome product. But I have no interest in it being our product. You know, like these guys have done the years. They've put in the time, and to kind of stand in between that would be almost disgraceful to what they've done and who they are, in my estimation. You know, it's just not something. It's not. I don't want it to be Mathew Boyer.
Right.
I want these guys. I want all of our customer base to know that it's.
But you're involved to the point where you know who these guys are.
Absolutely.
You
yes.
know what they do.
Yes.
And you know their love for the product. So, I mean, even though you're hands off on that part, you're still involved.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we know all the master blenders. We've met them, had good conversations. They're great people. Most of them are very, very humble. Their passion is tobacco. And so if you can talk about tobacco, if you can talk about cigars, obviously that's not all in the conversation. You know, Milton Hermosain, the master blender for Tabacalera 5-Star, he was a blender for Cohiba for 15 years. But before he did that, he played Major League Baseball here in the States.
I've heard that story.
Yeah, so, I mean, he'll talk about baseball. He loves baseball. But just such humble human beings, such good people. People that you'd want to know, people that you'd really want to hang out with and spend time with based upon just who they are as men. Yeah.
So are y'all Ranger fans?
Oh, I mean, you've got to be right.
As soon as we moved to Texas, we, adopted the mentality of go Rangers, go Cowboys.
Well, I'm a little different. I'm a Cowboy fan, but I'm an Astros fan.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I lived in the Houston area for 12 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so going to the games every week, you just become... Now, I root for Texas as well, but
Sure.
if I got to pick one or the other,
Yes.
then I'm going Astros.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. But we still have our ties to some of the California teams, especially if they're playing anybody else,
Non-Texas.
Yes, exactly, right. But you got to support what's in the shop and what people like. There's a good dynamic here though of people that like a number of sports teams, which is good. Well, and God bless, we never even realized how into college football people got until we moved to Texas.
Yeah, that was a shock to the system.
Right. It was. Yeah, that was.
So what's the main college team that the guys in your shop root for?
Well, TCU, since it's right up the street, we get a lot of that in here.
We got a lot of alumni.
Yeah, they'll wear all their purple on game
nice.
day and all of that, and we're like, what's going on here, But
Horned Frogs, right?
yes, Horned Frogs. A lot of Texas A&M people that come through here.
Longhorns.
Longhorn. Of course, the Alabama fans that you either love them or hate them. Roll Tide.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Who in Texas loves Alabama? Come on.
There's a couple
Yeah.
of individuals that come through the shop regularly, and it's
we actually have a coach that he used to coach high school football, and a couple of his kids are playing on various teams.
Oh,
so
nice.
whenever they're playing, he's like, hoorah,
Well, I'm a Red Raider fan, so
Sure.
you probably don't get a lot of those out here.
No, you know what? A handful. You'd be
Really?
surprised. Yeah, it really is. And again, that's the thing that kind of makes the Texas culture so unique and so special is that a number of people, it's not just one team. You get a really good mix, especially in the college football, because everybody went to these various schools, and going to the school, it's like you believe that color now, And everybody has fun with it, but everybody stays pretty civil for the most part.
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and Fort Worth is awesome as far as the whole cultural melting pot of just other Americans that come here. I mean, yeah, it's like there's probably half born and bred Texans that come to our shop, and everybody else is from other places,
Well, I read not too long ago that, and I don't know where the statistic came from, but it was like 6,000 people a month move to Texas.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's so scary. It's so scary because a lot of them are Californians like us. But I can tell you, I will vouch for both myself, my brother, and the rest of my family. We came out here as quick as we could to Texas. We did not bring political affiliation with us. We left all of that in California. That's actually one of the reasons we were so excited to move here is because, I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm proud to be from California. California is one of the most beautiful states in the Union. If you could get rid of 35 million people and their political views out there, I'd be back in a heartbeat. But because that's not going to happen anytime soon, Texas is the state to be. I don't want to see Texas change its ideologies, though. I mean, it's a great state for what people believe and how they behave, and as long as people coming here can respect that and remember that they left a place for a reason.
Well, and I think with Texas, you get a lot of individuals. And what I mean by that is we support you to be who you are. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, yeah.
There's no reason the government should be telling me what to do or you what to do,
Correct.
regardless of your political affiliation.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. It's never their job. I was discussing that with some guys in the shop the other day, and it's kind of interesting when you start to actually break down and understand the reason why government was put into place. It's to safeguard society as a whole for all peoples. But nowadays the government's starting to get into this role of playing nanny. They want to tell what people to do when and where, so that certain groups can feel safe and it's like, no, it's to safeguard everybody. But we're starting to get into playing favorites almost.
And I couldn't agree with you more, but that does say a lot about him getting on his soapbox, does it not?
Yes. I get the specific soapbox posture when he does it,
Well, and you didn't see me dust it off over here. I'm going to stand up on my chair here in just a minute.
No, I like it. My younger brother's a history teacher, and so he tells me the whole history of how we got to where we are, and he does an amazing job. I'll give him props for that. So
That is fascinating. Yeah.
So tell me a couple more things about your shop that I don't know.
We try to be pretty transparent with, what you see is what you get. We have a fairly small humidor, which I like personally because you got to just keep the cigars that are good in there.
Well, and I will say that I disagree with you about how big your humidor is. I think it's the perfect size.
Oh, well, thank you. Right? That's what she said, right?
But what I mean by that is I've been to a lot of shops. I write reviews on shops. Mm-hmm. And a big part of that is the humidor too small, too big? And when I say too big, what I mean by that is I go to some shops that have humidors that are 3 times bigger than yours. But they don't even have enough cigars to fill your humidor.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know why they even have such a big humidor other than to think that maybe at one time they carried that much and their business is shrinking, so they don't carry the ample amount of cigars anymore. Mm-hmm. So I want to say that your humidor is fantastic. I mean,
thank you.
I don't know how many facings you have, but it's full. And I love that it has as many selections as it does.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Yeah,
you guys are doing a good business.
Yeah, we try to be selective about what we bring into the humidor. A lot of it, in the past, part of our motto has been, we bring in a line of cigars and we babysit it for a little while, turn people onto it because we're excited about the product. That's the reason we brought it in. And then after that, it's kind of sink or swim. If it stays selling, we buy more boxes. If it doesn't, the people have spoken.
Right, they let it go.
Yeah, and we move that cigar out and bring something else in. It's not hard. It's not. There's really a moderate amount of science to it, but we do enjoy the selection that we have, and we enjoy the relationship we have with the brands that we do carry. The brand ambassadors are all fantastic, good human beings. I mean, that's part of, as you said earlier, what is so appealing about the cigar industry. You run into very few people that have a raunchy attitude in the cigar business. But we are a BYOB, which I guess for some shops is not necessarily unique, but it's a good point for the enjoyment of our customer base. We provide glasses and ice, and most people come in and they enjoy cigars the drinks very responsibly, and we like that. It's less expensive, and
especially with the whole recent smoking ban in bars in the Fort Worth area here, that's been really nice just to see people that can still come in and enjoy a beverage with their cigars and not feel, looking over their shoulder, have to walk 25 feet from the entrance of the building,
Well, and I think you have to be real careful having a bar and a cigar shop in one, because it can easily become just a bar.
Absolutely, yes.
And I've been to some shops that are like that, and it's like you don't really get that cigar shop feel.
Yes.
It's more of a bar.
Yes.
And if I wanted to hang out at a bar, I'd be at a bar.
Right.
The other thing I was telling your brother earlier is what I loved when I came here the first time. Y'all had a nice crowd in the lounge up in the front.
Sure.
And one of the guys was yelling at one of you two using everything except curse words, and I was like, you can tell this is a good shop because it's family.
Yes.
You know what I mean? When someone's harassing you, it's in love.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting harassed, then it's kind of a sterile situation. Mm-hmm. But you guys you can tell you guys have a great shop because it feels like family when you're here.
Well, it's been really wonderful just to see. I actually had one of our customers kind of reminiscing about the chain of connections that has come out of this establishment and the friends that he's made and the connections. And now he's got fishing buddies and golf friends and all of these relationships that, really wouldn't exist if there weren't places like this still around.
Oh, absolutely. And going forward, I mean, just this kind of atmosphere is hard to find.
It's true. It's it almost seems like places like this, like a guy was appealing, a customer of ours was appealing a little bit ago, the fact that this is like the old-time barber shop, where guys would get together, they're solving the world's problems, having the conversations that they can't have other places.
Absolutely.
And that really is, it's almost like the last bastion of, I don't want to say free thinking, but you're encouraged. It's a safe place for people to come and express themselves. And man, I've had not ugly conversations, but just conversations where a customer will come in and they see something or something said, and I mean, I have a mouth on me, and sometimes I say things, and this guy immediately, he actually looked at a sign that we had on our front window that we allow firearms. We promote carry inside of the cigar shop here.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, right, I preach. But this guy, he says, and he gives me this really pointed comment. Well, I get my cigar and start puffing on it, and I sit down, and we have this talk, and we go back and forth, and it's heated, and it's a little bit, you could tell there was some tension, but at the end of the day, we get up, and I said, man, I really appreciate you listening to me. We hug it out, and he leaves, and he's a regular, He comes back, and he's not afraid to come through the door and still smoke cigars here.
And he knows he's safe here.
Correct. At least he should know that he's safe here.
And that being said, I think you're 100% right on the feel of the old-time barbershop, where men, women can come hang out and just relax and enjoy themselves.
Yes.
I mean, where else can you go and have a smoke and a drink and just enjoy the company of fellow men and women that are enjoying the same thing you are?
Yes.
I mean, I really don't know of another place other than cigar shops.
No, I can't really think of too much. We a while back we hired on a new guy, Ken. He's a really great dude. He's a bartender by trade. Actually, I take that back. He's a mortician by trade. He tends bar, and then he works here. So we get into great conversations with him. But he was talking about even the difference between individuals that come into a bar and talk, the difference between that customer base and the cigar shop. And he says, cigar shop individuals, the people that come through a cigar shop, are so pleasant. Like they're here for a different mindset. A lot of people, they go to a bar and their hope is to forget their problems. And perhaps the cigar shop is true, but he says there's a different aim.
Well, I think a big part of it is we have a mutual respect for each other, where you don't find that at a bar.
That's very true. That's true. I hadn't thought about that before. Good point, Rob.
So,
and the target, I guess the persona of cigars and alcohol is so dramatically different that people smoke cigars for that, I don't want to say distinction, but it's a more refined, elegant.
Absolutely.
Whereas bars, you go and you do shots and you flirt with women and you're there to almost get rowdy. Whereas the cigar world, you're there to be distinguished and you're there to relax.
And people don't drink alcohol the same with a cigar as they do at a bar.
That's true.
No.
You're right.
At a bar, it's just drink.
Yeah.
Where here, or when I'm having a drink, I sip on my alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's a flavor enhancer for the cigar, or a pairing, or...
A while back when we were in California, speaking of, we're at a friend's wedding, and a lot of times you'll go out into the world outside of the cigar shop, and people ask you what you do for a living, and you're kind of sitting there. And out in California in particular, you're kind of like, oh no, here it comes. Well, we manage and own a cigar shop, and it was the pastor's wife who's officiating the wedding, and she says, oh, you dealing tobacco? Okay, well,
Dealing.
Yeah, okay. And she's like, well, tell me. She says, I'm gonna remain open-minded about this. She goes, I know cigars are different than some other things out there. I'm like, well, it's good that you make that distinction. She says, in a word, how would you describe cigar smoking versus, say, smoking a cigarette? And I said, well, that's easy, class. Because at the end of the day, most individuals, and man, we get them through here all the time, people that are looking to kick cigarettes or whatnot, and they're smoking for a very specific reason. They want to get that fix. Where with cigar smoking, it's culture, it's environment, it's camaraderie, it's class.
Absolutely.
And again, I haven't seen a single person smoking a cigar where you're just like, they look dingy, or they look, and I don't want to judge like that.
Sure.
But smoking a cigarette, it's just a different animal. It's just a different beast, and can't really compare the two.
And without trying to sound uppity, it is a different class.
It is.
I smoked cigarettes for 24 years, and I gave up smoking for 10.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, I gave up smoking for 10 years and never smoked another cigarette, and I still haven't. But I didn't smoke anything for 10 years, and then I started smoking cigars, and it was not the same.
Right.
You know, it was for what you say, the enjoyment of the camaraderie of your fellow cigarian, and I fell in love with that more than I fell in love with the actual cigar.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's that bond that we all share.
Yes, exactly. And I do have to tell people I level with a lot of customers. I had a couple in here for Christmas, and the husband and wife are here, and the wife's still a little bit, you can tell she's apprehensive about the whole idea of cigar smoking. She's not quite sure about the whole thing. And, you know, I'm always very quick to remind people or just to encourage them and say, well, what I'd like to do, I put the burden back on the consumer, and I say, listen, go out and try to prove me wrong. Go find the documents, find the data supporting that cigar smoking is licentious, that there's some negative physiological response. I said, I don't think you'll be able to find it because it just doesn't.
I was telling your brother before the show that I read an article, the FDA said that if you don't inhale and you have 2 cigars a day, your chances of lung cancer are nil.
Yes.
And you won't see that publicized anywhere.
No.
But that is what I've been saying for years. I don't inhale.
Right. And it is non-habit forming. And there is, and as I told this couple, I said, I say that out of the side of my mouth because, look, the reality is that it is habit forming.
Sure.
Everything is.
You want to go back and you want to smoke another cigar, but not for the same reasons. But I can say honestly, there are times when I'll be rolling around in my truck or I'll be sitting at the house and I'll say, man, sushi sounds fantastic right now. Am I addicted to sushi? No, absolutely not. I enjoy it, but it's the same type of habit. It's the same.
That's because you're from California.
Well, yeah, my colors have shown.
But no, I agree with you 100%. It's totally different. Something that's distinguished. It has class, and the main thing for me is just the enjoyment of being around other cigar enthusiasts.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Do you guys have anything else, or are we going to wrap it up?
Well, gosh, I think you've been very gracious to have us, and we really appreciate you coming in and smoking a cigar with us.
Well, I'm going to tell a quick story then.
Please.
First of all, I appreciate it that you guys opened up the shop and we can do this show here. But I also have to be honest to the audience and say that we planned this a year ago. And it was my fault. I take full responsibility. It's taken me this long to get all my ducks in a row to start the podcast. And you guys, this is actually the 3rd episode. So I just am so thankful that you guys open your doors and humidor for me to come in and do this show.
Well, it's been a pleasure. We'll have to do it again in the future.
Oh, absolutely. I look forward to it. And just to give you guys some props, Arron runs a heck of an Instagram page with all his photography is really good. Is it just Paladin Cigars on your Instagram?
At Paladin Cigars, yes, sir.
And I know you have a Facebook page as well.
Absolutely.
So definitely go by and let these guys know what you thought about the show and let them know that you support what they're doing. And if they can be any help to you, I know they will. So we appreciate it. And until next time, keep smoking.